Hi, my name is Terrill, and I'm sure you know by now, I am not Cat Witherspoon. Today I took over the show because we're going to have a conversation that's near and dear to me because it's a part of me, being black and male in America. I believe every culture, every race, and every gender has its own perspective that it looks through. I want you to come from your perspective and come to ours by being a part of a conversation that I'm sure you're going to enjoy.
Be informed, you gotta know what's going on in our community. So together we can make a change, you and me. Yeah, be in contact.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you Mark Coley. How are you, Mark?
I am well. Thank you so much for having me.
I guess it's good to have you here. How long have I known you, Mark?
About 5 years, I believe.
5 years. What is it? What's it, 2019?
Yes, sir.
So it's 2014?
Yes, sir. Around that time.
Around about that time. I met you in Virginia. You were in the military.
Correct.
How long did you spend, how long was your tour in the military?
Ultimately 7 years.
Really?
Yes, sir.
7 years. In what branch?
The Navy.
Sorry to hear that.
Oh, wow.
Now, I did the host thing, right? Because I introduced you as a Navy veteran.
Yes.
And then I asked you what branch, because you're supposed to play it off. But
Oh, I'm sorry,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
No. I was supposed to play it off.
Okay, gotcha.
As the host.
Gotcha.
Like, and ask questions like I don't know, but I had already introduced you, so I
Yeah.
messed it up. But okay, it
Maybe
is
they
what it
can
is.
re-edit,
All right, yeah. Post-edit that. All right.
Right.
Being black in America. Then there's another layer, being a black male in America.
Yeah.
I believe that every subcategory has its own layers. Being a black woman,
Yes.
Being a black gay, being a black educated man,
Right.
being a black father. So I want to specify that today's conversation is not just the black experience, but the black male experience.
Exactly.
I believe that if we were vulnerable enough to let our walls down and show someone else our experience,
Yeah.
not blame anyone else,
Right.
not incite another war,
Right.
but just let me show you what I go through, maybe to be well accepted. Maybe it won't, I don't know.
Who knows?
Here we go. Growing black in America, your experience, was it good, bad, indifferent? How was it? Explain. Excuse me, growing black, being a black male growing in America. How was your
Got you. The first thing that comes to my mind is some type of normacy to it. And what I mean by that is you grow up knowing that certain things you can't do simply because you are a black male.
Okay.
And you get accustomed to living life this way until now it's not normal. I mean, it's not unnatural,
Gotcha.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, let me ask you this. Do you feel that ideal that you can't do certain things, is it because the system is really holding you back, or is it this innate consciousness that's telling you you can't do it because of who you are? Or is it both?
I think it's both.
Okay.
I think growing up, your parents, of course, come from a different generation, so
Right.
they instilled in you what they believe was right, and their job was to keep you safe.
Right.
So with that being in your, pretty much in your mindset and your consciousness, like you just acted out naturally, like I can't go here, I can't say certain things. If I drive this type of car, then this will happen to me.
Right.
Or if I wear my pants this way, this is a result of that.
Right.
If I curse or have a bad day, then I'm labeled as a thug, you know?
Right,
So
right.
there are certain things that you grow up in an environment just kind of knowing without knowing that I can't do that.
Right.
You know, it may be normal for you, but I
It's
can't
not
do
normal.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, both of us wear earrings. I have a very visible
Right,
tattoo.
right.
And one of the things my mother was like, you ain't gonna be able to get no job. You ain't,
Yeah.
they gonna judge you. And I was a little afraid, but I wasn't too afraid I didn't do it, of course.
Right.
But I often think of it now when I'm walking down the street. I am an educated, smart black man, but are my earrings and tattoo giving a picture that I'm opposite of that? And that's my question, though. I want to get deeper in this.
Yeah.
Is it real? Because I listen to a lot of white people talk. Can I say white people?
You can.
A lot of Caucasians. I listen to a lot of Caucasians talk. And they sometimes some Caucasians allude to the fact that it's just all in our minds. That is, no. You had a black president. Can't be racist. Can't be a racist country now. And I often wonder, as I'm doing a lot of introspection, is the system holding me back, or has the system set me free, but I'm still bound by what I was taught?
Oh, that's deep.
Because my grandmother, right? Now, this is not a generation, my grandmother's grandmother's grandmother. My grandmother slapped my aunt in the face. You know why? She said she wanted to go to college. And my grandma slapped her and said, stop thinking so high-minded.
What? Wow.
And so that consciousness then was passed to my mother. And what my mother and father did not embrace, confront, was then passed to me. So I don't want to pretend like there's nothing wrong with America and America is not racist, but I'm really wondering, and I don't have an answer. I'm being sincere, not hosting right now.
Right.
Is it more of the system now? Is it more of the system now, or is it that innate consciousness that's been passed down from generation to generation that will just take a while for us to work through, if we want to work?
Yeah.
What do you think, Mark?
Whew, that is loaded. I'll start by saying this. I remember being a teenager and
I was a teenager one day too.
Really?
What a coincidence.
How long ago? Yeah. But listen, I remember being a teenager and between haircuts, because I was quote unquote pretty boy, I used to want to go out with my godmother and wear a wave cap.
Okay.
So I would always get, hey, you can't wear a wave cap out in public. And I used to be so upset because that wasn't my consciousness at that moment, that me wearing a wave cap sends a message to another person that I may be a thug. But in her eyes, that was the perception. Now, to answer your question, I believe it is still kind of in the middle, because we cannot forget that freedom to African Americans just happened. It's not something that's been millions of years. It's a few generations back that we were actually free. And we can't ignore the fact that things were put in place to hold us at a certain level. So when the generation came along and they instilled what they knew, they instilled those systematic things put in place to hold African Americans back. And the question that I have now is, are those things still in place? If I would answer honestly, I would say yes, they are very much in place.
All right.
I feel as if, and this is just how I think that you have rules and then you have loopholes to rules.
Okay.
And I feel as if the system was set up for African Americans to have the rules, but for other races, you have the loopholes to the rules. So yes, you're free to live by the rules that we set, but the rules were never created for you to win. The loopholes were created for you to win, and you won't have access to the loopholes because you don't have enough money, you don't have enough education, you don't know the right people, you would never sit at those tables. So now it's only a small percentage of us that make it to this level, and it's not enough to actually go back and empower the entire culture. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's hard being a black person, period, and even harder being an African American male, because there are systems in place. I used to be one of those people that would honestly get annoyed when I would hear people have the conversation of the white man holding us back. But as I got older, I started to understand there are some things in place that you know nothing about that are set to hold you back.
So let me say this, or let me ask this. Do you believe that systemic racism can trump consciousness? Meaning that, let's just say I don't want to be trapped in the vicious cycle of being the dumb black male, or I want to supersede or go beyond what's expected of me. And I work on my consciousness to get that I'm not enough voice out of my head. Do you think consciousness supersedes system?
I don't.
Really?
I think even if you get to a place where you have arrived and you're no longer thinking like our past generations have thought, that I still think there's things in place to hold you. You know, even if I decide to take the shackles off my feet and run free, if there's a fence that was placed by someone else,
Right.
I still can't get past that fence, so to speak, if you get what I'm saying. So if a horse is free in its cage, you know, in the pen, you know,
Free to roam, huh?
free to roam, and get this, you're free to roam in the space that we have allowed you. This fence and this border represents, you can't come past this. Not because you are not consciously able to do so, because the same grass that's over here is the same grass out there. But we, whoever put the fence up, has decided that this is how far your territory is.
Interesting.
That's deep.
I need to figure my own question. I wondered how do I believe. I didn't think I disagree with you, but I don't want to say so because I ain't thought about it. Because I ain't hosting. I'm just talking right now. So I don't have that gotcha question.
Right.
I know the answer. I really wonder.
Wow.
Does consciousness supersede system?
That's really deep.
But the thing is, and then I'm gonna get away from this because this is a rabbit hole. I think consciousness creates systems. So my answer would be that consciousness supersedes system.
Okay.
I think the system is the child of consciousness. And so, prime example, let's talk Bible. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. What made them special was they understood, in Daniel as well, they understood the system. They learned the system really well. And then they superseded the system because of consciousness. And then they rose above the slaves that they were connected. Well, they were slaves in the system. I don't know that Bible. I ain't went to Sunday school in a while. But the point is this. They were in captivity, but learned the laws and the ways of the land, and then they were honored in captivity and brought out of captivity. But they did it through consciousness.
Interesting.
And I think, and again, I promise you I ain't trying to host. I'm really just talking now, like we be in the back room.
Right.
You're supposed to be listening to your pastor. We're gonna be listening. So
I listen, Pastor.
but I think that system has to bow to consciousness. And the only reason why I'm afraid to really go there is I was a privileged black man. Now,
So you have a different
have a different
you
perspective.
have a different perspective.
So
yeah.
I'm afraid to be like, just lift your consciousness, bro.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
you gotta do is read a book,
Right,
brother.
right.
Because like, I almost said the N-word. Like, black man, you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't
And-
understand.
And I think that's the worst. One of my friends says it all the time. The worst thing you can tell a person when you're trying to learn more about their experience is say, all you got to do is.
Right.
Because now I've dumbed down your experience. I've
Right.
said that your experience does not qualify because it's as simple as 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And I have different friends that come from different backgrounds, and I do have friends that sometimes they say, well, if this person would have just did this, they would be in a better place financially overall.
Right.
And that may be true.
Right.
It's true. They're speaking facts. But at the same time, I cannot overlook your experiences, what you grew up, how you grew up, the environment,
Right.
and how hard was it for you to escape
Right.
what you've been through.
Right.
And also, you may have escaped physically, but still not have escaped mentally. So, you know, I used to be on that same bandwagon. Oh, black people, we just spend our money the wrong place. We always
Right.
wasting money.
Right.
And it's easy to stand from a place of judgment and say, you're wrong because you're not doing it this way. But then if I go back and I understand how you grew up in poverty and you didn't have new shoes and you didn't have new clothes. So the first time you got a decent job and made
You wanted to
decent
get
money,
some shoes.
you wanted to buy something because it was more than shoes to you. It was like, I finally feel normal.
Finally got a piece of
Finally
the pie.
got a piece of the pie.
Well, listen,
You
we
know?
got to talk about the rest of the pie when we be right back. 'Cause
All right, yeah.
You just talking.
Listen.
You wanted to get all revved up, and
Come
they
on.
over there giving me the signal.
Baby, listen.
Listen, we'll be right back, but we got to first hear from our sponsors, Georgia Power.
Georgia Power is always working to make the connection with our customers even stronger. With innovative solutions to make your life easier, thousands of places to pay your bill. Find rate plans that fit your lifestyle. Get questions answered in person or on social media. Even purchase energy-efficient products online. Now more than ever, there are so many new ways to connect to Georgia Power. Learn more at georgiapower.com.